What's going on, my brothers?
Station.
Oh, I screwed up. I wanted to. I was gonna surprise him with Brooks. I screwed it up. But surprise, it's Brooks. I always do that, man. I screw up. But glad to be here. Glad to be here. I don't know what you're doing, Robin.
Is eating his brains, obviously.
Obviously. All right, but
a long climb. I finally made it. I finally made it to the horror show.
Yeah. Finally finished all them Psycho films. You guys watched the Bates Motel show, right? All 5 seasons?
Nah.
Dude.
Didn't touch it. Sorry, bro. Sorry.
I'm just kidding. I've seen them already, but I'd like to rewatch them sometime. I actually love that show, but yeah, so
it's good.
We're here to review the Psycho series. All of them, including the Vince Vaughn remake. Psycho 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the remake. Should be fun.
Psycho's one of my favorite franchises. I'm super pumped, Dylan.
Dude, I grew up with Hitchcock, man. Like The Birds, Hitchcock Presents, the show. Yeah. The Birds was actually one of my favorites, man. One of my favorites as a kid. But Psycho, man, I mean, it's just phenomenal. I mean, the whole thing is, like, Hitchcock or not, it's Anthony Perkins to me. He is just so good as Norman Bates.
Yes.
So good. I love it so much. But got some of the homies in the chat. Sam Fett, as always, man. This dude is like first in every chat, bro. OG.
Sam's a great dude. Man. I've met him a couple times. Sam's great.
I know, I'm jealous. What's up, Travis? We got Scarpad. The Blood Mother. The Blood. I don't know what that means, but
that's from the movie.
Oh, the
Dylan.
Blood. Yeah.
Mother, blood.
That's a good one. But I don't know. I don't think I have too much for horror this week, brother. So I think we would probably just get into it this time.
No, let's hold on. There's a couple things. Shared this. They announced that they're working on In Search of Darkness 3.
Oh yeah. I forgot to make a note of it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of a big deal. And on this one, they're doing direct-to-video horror films. So because I'm halfway through. Yeah, that's the whole point for seeing that. Yeah. What you didn't read what you sent me? You just sent it to me. You're like, dude, no.
I just saw it. They said that they were in production of part 3. That's all I saw.
Yeah. Oh yes. But what they said was that they're going to do direct-to-video horror films because they pretty much have covered. They've pretty much covered all the major ones in these two. I mean, that's like 9 hours.
Couple, I guess. Yeah.
Maybe a couple.
Right.
But very stoked for that. The other thing is that, did you watch the trailer for the Candyman documentary that's coming out this spring?
No, dude, I didn't even hear about that. Wow.
Bruh. You should check it out. There's a Candyman documentary coming out about the entire franchise, from the original Clive Barker short story all the way through to the new one coming out. So
yeah, dude,
Candyman fans will like that.
I can't believe they got a Candyman documentary coming out before a Halloween one. Like, they need to get on that Halloween documentary.
They did the 25 Years of Terror. It's called The Complete History of Candyman, is what it's called.
Wow, I didn't read the whole. I didn't even. I was so excited about part 3 of In Search of Darkness. I honestly didn't read it. I just saw in production of part 3, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah, that's dope.
Dude, that actually makes me really excited to see the VHS. That's gonna be like a really cool take. That's gonna be.
It's gonna be like 4 hours of a weird stretch of me just being like, I ain't never seen or heard of that movie.
Yeah, I remember that cover. You know, that would be like, if anything, you know.
They would never let me borrow. They would never let me rent that one.
Yeah. It's going to be fun because I like that, man. Then it shows me movies like I might have remembered seeing, or maybe that I, saw but don't even remember. And, or just takes me down new paths, man. I love it, dude. That documentary, literally, like, I love it. Best documentary ever. What's up, John Holshoe?
Holshoe.
Chumunk in the house. Dude, I'm wondering when that Friday the 13th figure is dropping. They did
New Blood?
the Puppet Master. Like how the Puppet Master NECA figures are gonna come in the boxes. Oh my God, they look incredible. I don't even want to take them out of the box because they're perfect in the box. They look like kind of like the trunk that Toulon would keep them in. I think that looks so dope.
Nice.
But I noticed Shudder dropped that movie Lucky that we were talking about a couple weeks ago. It's finally on Shudder now. So yeah, if you got Shudder, check that movie Lucky out.
Check it out.
But,
I still have yet to watch the Wrong Turn movie. So.
Oh, that's a pretty good one. It surprised me. Don't go.
Jay Strick watched it. He liked it.
Yeah,
Jay Strick watched it. He liked it.
Good. It was good.
For some reason, I wrote down Lucky and then drew a tornado. It's weird. Anyway, what's up?
Weird stretch.
Do you ever feel like the government's not telling us everything?
No, never.
About tornadoes?
I feel like they're not there. They got their, every time they speak, I just think they're speaking straight from the Bible.
Yeah, right.
I know, right?
Everybody's talking about the
Close Encounter of the Third Kind with the tornado.
Everybody's talking about the Candyman thing and how scared they were to talk about it in the mirror, and whatnot. I saw this meme the other day, and it was just like kids today be like looking in the mirror going, Candyman, and then like you just smack the shit out and be like, what the fuck you doing, kid? Don't you know what the hell's about to happen?
We used to have another one called Bloody Mary, which is pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember Bloody Mary's scary, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that was what I remember was Bloody Mary, and then Candyman came out, and then I was like, oh shit. Funny that the third urban legend movie is called Bloody Mary. Actually, I want to watch it. Because I bet you it all revolves around that. But yeah, so that's horror this week, fellas. I'm so pumped for In Search of Darkness 3.
Yeah,
dude, I'm so hyped for that. Oh, I love it. I gotta get the In Search of Tomorrow as well. I gotta finally pledge for that. It don't come out for a while though, so that's why I was like, I'm gonna wait. And every time because I'm in the Discord with the guys, and I'm like, what's the cutoff date? They're like, you could go sign up for it now. I'm like, all right, buddy, I know I can sign up now, but I don't have the money at the moment.
But they don't either. They don't either, Dylan.
I don't think there is a cutoff date. So, I mean, it's just weird that usually you would say, we don't have a cutoff date yet, dude. Or, it's like just they like totally dodge the question is the thing.
And for those that don't know, the In Search of Tomorrow is the 80s sci-fi documentary they're doing. So very excited for that. 80s is not just a great decade for horror. It's also a great decade for science fiction.
And action, man. So, dude, the sci-fi, No, comedy sucked then.
What are you talking about? Police Academy, bruh?
I said just kidding. I said just kidding. Don't get your panties in a wad. I was totally
You
kidding.
watch your mouth, young man. I was there.
I was there.
John's speaking in his alien language again.
I love how awkward these shows start, Dylan, by the way.
That's because you purposely want to make them awkward.
Bro, you think it's me?
It's me, and then you join in on it, and then you try to make it go where
I can't avoid a good weird stretch, man. So anyway, what's next? What are we doing now? I just put my mom in the
fruit cellar till the show is over. Scarphead, bro, get your mom out the fruit cellar.
Yeah, man.
What up, Agu? But all right.
Put me in the fruit cellar, why don't you? Think I'm fruity?
Oh man. All right, so let's get into Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. And I'm gonna have fucking my man Brooks start this off. 1960s Psycho, bro. What'd you think of this movie?
Well, I love this movie. This movie is like a classic for a reason. And like I remember the first time I watched it was with that guy there. Like I remember I used to, when I was his neighbor, like we'd have movie nights on pretty regular. And like what we did actually was we watched Psycho one night and then we watched the Vince Vaughn remake the next night.
Really?
Yeah, but like the original is like infinitely superior, I think, you know. It's
without a doubt.
Like it's just so moody and dark, and like, you know, it's Hitchcock, you know, the suspense, man. He's the master of suspense.
Without
I think Psycho is probably one of the first horror movies I really liked a lot.
I hear you, dude, and it's one that where you actually like the character. It's very rare where the killer is a guy where you genuinely like him. I mean, I love Norman Bates as a character. He is just phenomenal. You know,
he has to be likable because, like, in each movie, like, people just keep giving him second chances.
Right. Like, for real.
Like, he's a good guy. He's just a good dude. He just goes a little crazy sometimes.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Right.
Oh, yeah, by the way, this is part of March Madness. So all throughout March, on Friday nights at PCP, and then on Saturday nights here at Dylan's Horror Show, we're celebrating madness on film.
Madness, I tell you. Madness.
Madness. Yeah. It's a good band, too. But we're not going to really talk about Madness. The band.
Yeah, Candyman's crazy as fuck, Perry. Yeah, man, I absolutely think the movie's phenomenal, though. I can't remember if I seen this or the remake first, though, to be honest. But
really,
I can't. I think I might have saw the remake first, to be honest. Since I'm a '90s kid, I can't be certain. But I always liked the original better. I always kind of like thought the remake was decent, never like amazing. I never thought it was terrible or nothing. I watched it a few times. I always liked Vince Vaughn, but I think Hitchcock is just phenomenal. Like, just I think this, you know, obviously this is his gem, you know. But
it's one of many.
Before I ask Robbie what you thought, I want to tell the chat to tell us in the comments what they think of 1960s Psycho. So what did you think, Robbie?
Bruh, 1960s Psycho is one of the greatest horror films of all time. It's one of the best, like, examples of suspense and tension in film. The way that Hitchcock creates and crafts everything about it, it's just cinematic perfection, right? They did things that were unheard of at the time. They introduce a character. You think you're following Marion Crane's character, and then she dies, and you're just like, what? And like, it throws you off. Like, if you can legitimately watch this movie without knowing about it. And the first time I watched it, we knew about the shower scene, but we didn't know that it was going to happen that quick into the movie. It throws you off. And imagine what that did to audiences in 1960. This was a very controversial film. It showed it showed the toilet flushing. Like there was all kinds of weird little things that you couldn't do in American cinema or in Hollywood that, you know, as crazy and as effed up as Hollywood is, it's really weird to think about how prudish they can be sometimes with their censors, right? This movie was groundbreaking. Anthony Perkins as Norman Bates is legendary. His performance, he's great. I haven't seen him in too much. I had this movie, an Orson Welles film that he did, The Trial, based on the Kafka book. But aside from that, I've never really seen him in much else except for these Psycho movies, which I just love. And he's amazing in all of the Psycho movies. So good. He's freaking fantastic. What's that?
He directed the third one too.
He did direct the third one, yeah. So I really love this movie. Janet Leigh is great as Marion Crane. I just am fascinated with this idea of this dude, like, because he's such, like you said, he comes across like a likable, charming guy, and you kind of root for him at first, you know?
Yeah.
And then
I root for him in every movie.
And then, well, definitely in part two, but in this one, you know, like when you find out what's going on and the way he plays those moments, like when they capture him and he's dressed up as his mother, the look of insanity, of madness on his face. And then the best part is that look at the very end when he's like talking in his head with his mother's voice. Why wouldn't I have to fly? And he just looks up and smiles. That's like the most creepy, scary thing. That one right there. Oh my God. And then they do that cool fade dissolve where it's the mother's decomposing face over it. This movie is perfection. It's brilliant. I can't even imagine what it would have been like to watch this in 1960. This is one of the best movies
in theater. Of all time. Oh my God, it would have been great.
And the score. The score.
Oh man, that's one of the best things they did with the remake is kept Bernard's score. You know what I mean? Like seriously, they would have tried to change that. They would have went through some hell.
Yeah.
But this movie's score like ripped off Reanimator pretty hard though.
It did.
But yeah, man, I agree with both of you, man. This movie is the classic of all classics. I mean, it started, you know, it influenced so many horror makers or horror creators, horror directors. Dr. Sam Loomis, the boy for the mistress of Marion Crane. I mean, that's where John Carpenter took it from. I forget there was Jamie Lee Curtis. I mean, that was Deborah Hill's idea. Like, dude, this is the Scream Queen. Oh, you know, the legend's daughter. That's what she's like. That would be cool to get her, you know. So I mean, funny thing, I don't have it, but at Scream Factory, if you see, I got a documentary. It's like 78/52, the Hitchcock shower scene. It's like a documentary, and I threw it on. It has a bunch of horror icons and stuff talking about it, you know, but it seemed pretty cool. It's got Jamie Lee Curtis in it, so
nice.
But Anthony Perkins, I feel the movie and the script is phenomenal. It's shot so well. The cinematography is incredible on it. But without Anthony Perkins, I think it might not have been what it is. He really gives you that charm of this sensitive, timid, just nice going, you know, innocent, but yeah, you know what I mean? And that it really isn't him. It really is that split personality where it is his mother coming out, or you know what I mean? Or even so before, you know, when he killed his mother, it's like he must have always had like a split personality where he has this sensitive side to him, but then he can snap, you know what I'm saying? And get so jealous because him and his mom were so close, and then he kills his her mistress, you know, because she kind of tosses him to the side when she finds a man. But
you find that out later on.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I absolutely adore the movie, man. It's a classic, and it one one of the best ever, without a doubt.
And let's be honest, never needed a sequel, but I'm glad we got them.
Oh, I'm so glad. I
watched
the sequel.
Never needed to be remade either, but I'm glad it was for some reason.
No, I could have lived without the remake, but if I watched the remake first, then that's what drew me to the original. So I'm glad that there's a remake. So,
I was in high school when that came out, and there were a lot of, we're in the post-Scream wave, and so I thought that it was interesting that they decided to remake it. And I guess we'll talk more about it later, but I thought it was interesting because there were a lot of people that I went to school with that had never seen the original. And so that was like their first experience with it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that was the whole point for them to remake it. I feel like the studio, because they're like, we'll get people to buy the old one, and then we'll get new people to see the new one. And then the new people will go back and buy the old one. I mean, it was a win-win no matter what. And they just stirred up hella controversy for it. I mean, but the music, phenomenal, iconic music. And like you said, man, just what they did with, you think Marion is going to be the main character, and then they just totally switch it, a third of the way through.
Yep.
Or maybe closer to halfway, but,
And of course, the screenplay is Joseph Stefano, based on the Robert Bloch book. So,
I didn't know it was based off a book. I know it. I mean, Norman Bates based off of like Ed Gein.
Yeah. So is there's like that one, Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Silence of the Lambs are loosely all based on the same story. Loosely, I mean, they're all a little bit of different aspects of it, but they're all they're all loosely based on the idea.
Yeah.
Psycho does exactly what it tells you it's doing. This is a movie about a psycho. Like, you know what I'm saying? And like you find that out, man.
Was this like one of the earliest uses of that word psycho in that way to describe somebody who's just crazy? Or was that like an established thing before?
I don't know. I barely remember the 50s and 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't remember?
No, I was
such a disappointment.
I know, man. I can't recall that past life for some reason.
That's weird stretching. But you want to rate it?
5?
Yeah, 5.
Yeah, I figured. For me too.
Yeah, 5 for sure.
Anyone in the chat, it's got to be a 5. I would highly doubt anybody would give this less than a 5, though.
It's hard to pick a single movie as being the defining moment of the birth of the slasher film. Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not fair to say something like Psycho's the birth of the slasher film, because slasher, like, really, it didn't start until like the late 70s, early 80s. Right.
Yeah.
But like, there are a lot of movies, including Psycho, Black Christmas, the French film, what is it, Diabolique or whatever? Like there are movies that eventually led into the slasher film, and so many of the slashers take directly from Psycho. Like even the score of most horror films in the 80s, most slashers, is directly from, Psycho. The whole I mean, it's iconic. By the way, not a good idea to use it as your alarm. I did that for a while, and it literally will shock you out of your dream or whatever. It's interesting. But it's a perfect film, pitch perfect, bro, and incredibly influential.
Yeah, it's really.
And I know we're not telling anybody anything new that they haven't heard before or already know.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so the iconic shower scene, everything in it, man. It's so well done. I mean, like Brooks said, the suspense, just the entire way through is just. It's.
I've been Norman Bates dressed as his mother like 3 times for Halloween.
I remember that. Yeah. I think one of my favorite scenes is like, when the detective guy's at the top of the stairs, and then like it's like a top down view, and you just see her come out with a knife and just whoosh.
It happens so fast, like it's visceral. Like he just goes, and then like that weird shot of him.
Oh my god, I love it. I love
it. I love that shot. It's so weird. And then when he falls, he's like immediately on top of him, just like he's like, have you ever, it's visceral, you don't see the cuts or anything like that, obviously, but I gotta imagine for 1960, for most people that probably saw this, they hadn't seen a movie where someone was just like, it's like nonstop, dude. It's crazy. Yeah. It's got to be intense for back then. Oh, we're spoiling Psycho for my favorite thing is Perry did a reaction to Psycho and he was like, oh, I didn't even know that's what this movie was. I was like, bruh. How do you make it through your life not knowing about Psycho?
That's what I mean. They usually, like, even if they don't know the movie, they know the scene, the shower scene,
Yeah.
But all right, so 5 You Digs, easy peasy. So 22 years later, Norman Bates gets released, and they say he's cured, and we get Psycho 2, which I don't think it's it's not actually 22 years later.
Yeah, 1982, man. Yeah, 1982.
It was it?
Actually, yeah, I'm pretty sure. 83. Well, it was probably produced in 82.
It should be 82. Yeah, we'll say 82 because that's some goof shit. Written by, right, you guys missed.
It does say 83. Year. It released June in 83, but it was produced in 82, so whatever, you get it.
Yeah. So Tom Holland comes along and writes a screenplay, and basically this was something that he's like, you can't do a sequel to this. It's good where it's at, like that movie, you can't top it. And he did it though, and I adore the second one, man. Like 2 and 3, I put those on back and forth like all night long, literally, man. I love 2 and 3. I like 4 as well though. So yeah, man, because I had a DVD and it had 2, 3, 4, and then it had like Bates Motel, the TV movie with Bud Cort and some other chick, and I would just watch 2 and 3 all the time. But what'd you think of 2, Brooks? Are any of these your first time watching?
Yeah, everything except for the first one and the remake I haven't seen.
Oh, okay, and so 2, 3, and 4 was first time.
Yep, and they're surprisingly very good. Like they don't try to go too far into the slasher territory. They're still very suspenseful movies, and they're still very character driven. A lot of it's about Norman, and especially the second one was he has so much problem because he's trying to be a better person, but then he has these people that are fucking with him, and they kind of drive him back, even though he's trying his best not to. I think 2 is probably it's the closest to being as good as the first one, I think, out of all of them.
Me and Scarpad think we like it just as much as the first, if not maybe. I don't know if Scarpad said better, but I think he said he liked it just as much as the original. And man,
it's pretty close to being as good as the original.
Plus, I mean, you have no expectations for it because you're either they're too high or they're just low because you're you ain't never gonna top it, And it's just, I think it's so well done, man. And I like how you said they kind of get into more of the psyche of Norman, and they would definitely put the innocence there way more, where you're they're setting him up, and he really is cured, and he's a changed man, and then now they're fucking with him, and they're trying to get him to snap, and like I said, man, I root for Norman every trip. But
I think Perkins in all of them really helps too.
Oh my God! So
they never change up Norman Bates.
If they would have, I don't think it would have worked. Honestly,
yeah, probably not.
The story might have been good, but it's
it wouldn't have been as good.
Perkins he's so good. He that's the role. Robbie said he didn't see him in much. I've never seen him in much either. It's Norman Bates was what he was born to do, But
that's what I was born to do.
What'd you think of Psycho 2, Robbie?
Oh man, I love Psycho 2. I have loved Psycho 2 since I was a kid. I think it may have been the first Psycho movie I ever even saw, to be honest with you. Okay. And there's something about, first of all, I love hotels and motels. Okay. And I love how much time they spent in the hotel and in the hotel, like the base motel in 2 and 3 in particular. Right. I really like that. It adds this dimension to it. And it really does feel out in the middle of nowhere, right? I love the story. It is so character driven. Like Brooke said, Anthony Perkins is amazing in this. And let's be honest. Norman doesn't kill anybody in this movie until the very end, right? And it's because you got this chick who is very charming and endearing in the film. And then you find out that it's her and her mother are trying to fuck with Norman and drive him crazy again so that he gets put back into the insane asylum. I love all the stuff at the diner. I love all the stuff with Dennis Franz from NYPD Blue. You know, like I love that. Like Norman is such a strong character in this movie. And literally, dude, it's like a tribute to like what can be done with some real work. And it took 22 years, but he was kind of cured. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And they're fucking with him, you know, and they're the ones that drive it. And it's him and you find the revelation of his real mother. Yeah, real mother, because they then undo that later on down the road. But I love that. And when he like hits her with the shovel at the end, that's one of my favorite moments in the entire Psycho franchise. Because when you first watch that moment, you're just like, oh my God, like they really just hit that old woman over the head with the shovel. It's so freaking real. And I freaking love it, dude. You feel for Norman in this one so much because he wants to be a normal person, you know, and then you feel for what's her name? I don't remember her name. It's I guess it's
the girl who stays with him.
Yeah, Meg Tilly, right? Is that her name? But you start feeling for her. And also, let's point out that Vera Miles plays the same character from the first one as well. Like her mother, that's the sister that's the actual actor from the first one. So that's the nice little touch. Sister? Yeah, she's the sister in the first one. And remember, she comes back. Yeah. And it's her and her daughter.
Yeah, so you want to know what's funny? I noticed. So the sister married Loomis after the sister gets killed. So she was messing with Loomis, or Marion Crane was messing with Loomis in the beginning. She goes off, steals that money so that they could run away together, and she dies, and they go looking for her. And she says something, and the officer goes like, "Oh, how's Loomis?" or whatever, basically, saying, and she said something, and I was like, "What? I never even know they were married." I was like, "Wow!" I was like, "What type of chick are you, man, messing with your sister's like dude after she gets killed?" I don't know. I thought that was, I'm like, you could just see she's shady though. They set her up to be shady.
Well, I mean, honestly, dude, it's when people go through an experience like that, sometimes it can
grow them.
But I mean, also know that dude was kind of sleazy. Remember, he's all like, "Yeah, you got a sister?"
Yeah, true. Maybe, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, but that kind of a thing could happen. And yeah, it is the reason why we're doing Psycho and The Cell in the same week. It connected in my head that Vince Vaughn was in both. So we get to talk about Vince Vaughn 2 nights in a row. I'm excited. But Psycho 2 is great. Great twist at the end. Great all the way through. Very engaging, compelling, character-driven. It's got some nice kills, too, because now we're in the 80s, okay? And now we're getting some actual, kills.
Dude, I love the kill of Lila Crane, the freaking big Michael Myers knife right through the mouth as she's screaming.
Oh, my God.
The tongue, and then you see the knife go through the back. That's like Giallo stuff right there, bro. I mean,
yeah, it really is. That's uncomfortable as shit. Just thinking of the feel of the blade on your teeth. Oh my God. It's giving me the willies right now. Ooh. But it's got great kills, great gore effects. It's well written. It's incredibly well written. It's well directed too. The director is Richard Franklin. And don't forget that Rob, what's his name? Logia, whatever. He's in here. He's like it's funny. I shared this meme in the PCP Army, and it was like your 80s, watching an 80s or 90s movie starter pack. And it was the Orion picture and then that actor and a few other things. And it was just funny that I put in this movie and we get all of it. But I love Psycho 2. I thought it was really, really cool. And it is unrelated to the novel Psycho 2, which came out in 1982 by Robert Bloch, which he wrote as a sequel to the original 1959 novel. But there you go. And apparently, Richard Franklin was a one-time student of Alfred Hitchcock. And this was his American film debut.
Swear.
There you
go. Yeah. So I basically have said in between you guys that I love this sequel. I like it probably just as much as the first one. Like I said, my research on this was crazy. 2 and 3, like I said, I watched a lot, and I love that you mentioned, the hotel. It does seem more abandoned. I mean, the house is a character in itself. You know what I'm saying? Not like, I mean, just.
It's nice seeing it all in color too.
Yeah, and like just every time you see the house, like from the bottom of the steps and someone's coming down, it's spectacular, man.
And when they added the color, like you're able to get the neon, and so you're able to have those colors, especially in part 3. But like it's one of my favorite things. The cinematography in 2 and 3 to me blow me away.
Oh, I agree, man. But yeah. So what would you give this as a rating, Brooks?
I give it 4.5. It's like I said, it's close to being as good as the first one, but I don't think it quite gets there.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, it's hard to compete with the classic. I think it has a huge nostalgic factor for me, but I just think it really is good. I mean, because most sequels don't ever compare like this one does to the first. Like most of them, they get real cheesy, and you're just like, I love it so much because it's fun. You know what I mean? But this one is
they stay true to the premise.
A great movie. Yeah. And even though it is 22 years later, it feels, very connected. It feels perfectly balanced, and it's colored now too. So, I mean, it's a lot different.
Wow, in color.
Yeah, color. But
the blood's red now. See?
What'd you think of it, Robbie? Or what is your rating?
I'll go 4 or 5 as well. I think it's a very solid film. It's one of the best 80s slasher films in my estimation. I think it's brilliant, and it's completely character driven. I think they start faltering from this point forward, but like there's some nice work done with Norman, and it's a tragic film. Like the first one has an element of tragedy, okay, but this one really does to me because he probably would have been fine, and I really like that sweet and innocent relationship that he develops with the young lady, even though we find out that she was there purposefully to do a certain thing. And I'm with 62 because here's something weird to think about. The remake came out in 1998. Okay. So it's been like 23 years. So like they should do a Psycho 2.
They already filmed it
with Vince Vaughn.
COVID delayed it. It would already came out this past Halloween.
Did they actually do one? No, they didn't.
Yeah,
don't do a shot for shot one, but it would be interesting, wouldn't it, to see anyway. Yeah. But yeah, I'll go 4.5.
Shot for shot one probably. Yeah, I without a doubt, John. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4 or 5 as well. I'd give it a 5 for nostalgia, but I'm gonna give it a 4 or 5. That's still fucking solid as hell. I mean, I had watched all 4 of them recently, like when I got the Scream Factory releases. So I was like, man, I've seen them so much, I didn't even really have to watch them. But I rewatched the remake because I got it this week, and then today I was like, man, I'm gonna throw on 2 and 3 because I love them. I can just throw 2 and 3 on whenever,
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm gonna give it a 4 or 5.
Nice.
And one of my favorites. I'm so pumped to talk about. Don't touch the guitar. Don't touch the guitar. I love it. Even when he's getting his goddamn head cracked in. Don't touch the guitar. Psycho 3, man. Anthony Perkins coming back, directing and starring in. I think this movie is incredible. It's so fun. I love Jeff Fahey. He is probably the girl from the church is a little weird. It always throws me off a little bit. I'm like, where this is getting a little weird, but Jeff Fahey is probably my all-time favorite Psycho character besides Anthony Perkins. I just love Jeff Fahey, man. But Brooks, what did you think of Psycho 3 since this is your first time watching this one as well?
Well, yeah, a lot of times, especially in franchises like horror franchises, like 3 is where things start to go off the rails usually, if they haven't by the second one. But I think they did pretty good with Psycho 3. It kind of branches out a little more. Like there's a couple of other characters in the mix, like the douchey guitar guy and the
Duke.
Yeah, the former nun girl who's like, I thought that was interesting how she came to see Norman as like the Virgin Mary as like her savior. I thought that was kind of an interesting idea that they threw in there. And it always goes wrong though for poor Norman.
Yeah.
Psycho 3 is an interesting film. It's not as much as 2, like, he's a little more off in this one. Like, he hasn't actually been caught for the murder of the old lady. So you don't know, like, if he's actually been getting better or if he's been, maybe doing a little more murder
seems to take place
since
like
then.
a week, or it seems to take place like within the month of 2. Maybe a couple weeks even after, because it shows like she's been
yeah, they are still like, I guess they're still talking about her being missing. So
yeah, and she's been gone maybe a month or something. It's not too long, because I was surprised. I was like, oh, it's only been like a couple weeks from part 2 to 3. So it seems like once he killed his mom, he snapped and he was back. Like he's already talking to her, and he's already getting her what is that called when what he does? He's already stuffing her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was the whole setup that's the whole setup of the second one. Is that now he's like back to mother obsessed Norman Osborn, man. Oh.
You put me in the fruit cellar. You think I'm fruity? No, mother.
Wait, Norman Bates? Norman Osborn? Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they both are weird characters. I guarantee he has some, but yeah, I think it's just so funny, man. I was watching an interview with Jeff Fahey on the Scream Factory, and he's like, Tony would be directing, just acting. So he's so cool, so nice, and he hit action and snap. He's Norman Bates, and he's like, dude, this is freaky. Like just the way he would do it. I would be like, he'd go from just cool, calm to like timid. And just, because in the third one, he's a little bit more, he's like old. He's older. I think there was a jump from Psycho 2 to 3, at least by a few years. So he's,
3
I feel
years
like
or so.
Is it 3? I was going
to. Yeah, you're right. It's 86.
He did, but for some reason, he looks maybe a little bit older, though, from 2. I feel like in 2, he still looked pretty young. I don't know why, but he's sweating like crazy in this one. And he's all like tweaking out. Because Jeff Fahey is stolen his mom and he can't find her, and the cops are looking in the house. Oh my God! It's so much fun. Jeff Fahey is just, oh my God! Don't tell he reminds me of the guy from Creepshow 2, the long hair. I can't think of his name. It's killing me, but he's like, there ain't no dirt in Hollywood, man. But what'd you think of Psycho 3, Robbie? Or sorry, Brooks, did you have anything else you wanted to say before Robbie goes?
Well, and another thing that's interesting about this movie is it kind of has like, you don't know if Norman's really the killer for a while. So it kind of, like for a while I was thinking like maybe the guitar dude's actually doing the murders. Maybe the girl is doing the murders for him and like, or something like that,
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of an interesting idea. Like, you have these different characters, like they could be the actual Psycho, kind of red herrings, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like when they do that though, because it gives Norman his innocence, and you really want to root for him and be like, they're probably just setting him up. Norman's he's cured. He's cured.
He's a good boy.
The whole town loves him now.
He wouldn't hurt him alive. Yeah, the boy don't need no more trouble.
Like people are always jumping to defend this guy.
I love at the end too. He's like, "You made me look like a fool, Norman." Like that's what you worried about, not the dead people.
Sure, it's an asshole.
I got you a job at the diner. I told people that you were cured, man. All right, Robbie. So what'd you think?
Oh man, I have a lot of fun with Psycho 3. It seems to be the most like a typical 80s slasher. It's like it ramps up the violence. It's got some good gore effects. It's got some really nice moments, like when the chick's getting killed in the phone booth and like she's stepping on the glass too. Like, I really like it, but it is a bit melodramatic. This is Psycho 3, Norman in love, right? And some of that's interesting and kind of innocently charming, but it is also a little weird and just off-putting. I love the Jeff Fahey character. That's a weird stretch when he's in there with that chick and he's got the two lamps and he's like got one on his dick or something. Like I don't understand.
I'm like, what you on crack, dog?
Like this dude's on something, man. He's like off his rocker. And like, dude's like, you're in the middle of fucking nowhere. He hooks up with a pretty good looking chick, right? And then like immediately like fucks it up because she's trying to come and like, cuddle on him. And he's like kicks her out and all. I'm just like, what a douchebag. Like how many options do you have in that small ass town? But I guess he's ready to go, but the reveal with him, then you think, he's the villain. No. Because he gets killed by his guitar. But then he comes back again. But I really like Psycho 3. It's not as good to me as 2. None of them are as good as 1. But I have a lot of fun with this. This one is silly. The Norman story doesn't hit me as much, but all of the set dressing, they really get into the motel. It's nice to see the motel filled with people. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and like the party with the high school kids come in.
Yeah, right. And like, so that's always fun. And then like, I love the bit when they got the dead chick in the ice maker. And I love how we got an ice maker now. Like Norman's like, we got an ice maker now. They're like, he got an ice maker. Stop, leave him alone. He's been through enough. He's got an ice maker now. But it's also nice to see the motel get filled because I feel like it was a missed opportunity where they could have actually killed more people. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you could have really gone full on, but I like that element of it. So all in all, I think it's a solid film, but just a bit weaker.
The first 2 movies, only one person checks in. Or I guess two people, Mary and Crane, and then her sister when they're looking for him. It's like nobody checks in. I mean, I get it's supposed to be dead, but it's like a I like how in the third one it's more like a party hotel. Well, that's
what it was. That's what it's like in the beginning of 2, when Dennis Franz's character he cuts it off, and I'm like, that's a missed opportunity too, because that gives you more potential victims. But they didn't. It's not about a body count in these movies.
And
it is more.
He didn't want victims.
Yeah,
because he's actually trying to do better.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But also, these are more character-driven slashers than like your typical. They're not trying to just amass a body count,
Yeah. But Norman's a little wackier in this one because I mean he's definitely falling off his rocker after 2. So
he's talking to his dead mother again and all kinds
of new
wild
dead mother.
Yeah, his new dead mother.
Oh my god! But yeah, man, I absolutely love this one. Like I've been saying, Fahey is just phenomenal. The story gets a little muddied, I guess, with the love story, but I like to see Norman get a little happiness and joy, but they obviously pull it from him because you can't. That's where our 4 is actually crazy to me, but I still like it. No, I guess a psycho can find love, but yeah, I just love Psycho 3. Let me know in the chat what y'all thought of Psycho 3. I don't know if you guys said, if I asked you what you guys thought of Psycho 2. I know I asked you about Psycho 1, but if I screwed up, let me know what you think of Psycho 2 and 3. I'm going to give Psycho 3 a 4 out of 5. What would you give it, Brooks?
Yeah, I'd give it a 4 too. It's still good, but it's not as good as the previous two. It's good. It's kind of a little step down, but it's still a really good, solid movie.
Yeah, it's a fun one to rewatch too, man. It's a fun one on the rewatch. What's up, TK?
TK.
Travis gave it a 4 out of 5 as well. Yeah.
We rating?
Yeah. Me and
Brooks
both gave 4s.
I agree, 4. I should give it a 3. I think I should give it a 3.5 because it is a bit too melodramatic at times. Like the nun, the former nun, like that's interesting, but it never quite develops enough for me to like buy her connection with Norman. But I do feel Norman's side of it. Like I understand that. But the use of color in this one is fantastic, especially in the rain scenes, and there's more people in the motel, so it's got a nice energy to it. Yeah. So I'll go for
even the scene with Jeff Fahey and the little lamplight. That's good color. That's good lighting.
What is going on there? By the way, that chick that gets killed in the phone booth she's in New Blood, and she's in Slumber Party Massacre 2. That's Juliet Cummins. So we've chatted about her actually in the last few months.
I knew she looked familiar. Yeah, I always thought she looked pretty good. Too good to be kicked out by his dumbass. I'd have let her chilled for the weekend at least, and then
no kidding, right? Why not, right?
Right. I mean, I guess she's too good for a singer, or the singer is too good for her. I love that when he says to Norman, I ain't gonna be here too long. I'm a singer. You know,
what's crazy though is like, so he takes cabin 12 and he immediately just puts up like all these dirty magazine pages on the wall.
I know, right?
Gets these purple lights, and apparently he can put one on his dick. Because if you notice when he's moving them, right? Look at that scene again. He's got one in his hand. He's moving it. His other hand is over here, but the other one is moving, and it's like between his legs. I don't know what that is, but you're right. He's on something, bro.
I'll have to rewatch.
Like a jock strap with the lamp glued to it or something.
Who knows?
Just what a weird thing to do. Like get nude, and I'm going to sit here completely nude. Like the lamp is covering his dick, obviously, right? Because that's the most I've ever seen of Jeff Fahey, I think. But yeah, anyway, it's just a weird bit with the lamp, man. It was just a weird bit.
It is so weird. It is. I always say, and he's just sitting there like with a crazy look on his eyes, sweating.
Yeah, he's so sweaty. It's a sweaty movie too. I'm like, y'all, I see your air conditioner. Turn that shit on.
Right. You just got an ice machine, dog. Why are you so sweaty?
And that cop eats the bloody ice.
How do you not know? How do you not taste the blood on that ice?
Tastes like iron.
Yeah, like you get that coppery taste.
Tastes like copper. What's going on here?
You best check that ice machine, man. Tastes like pennies.
Yeah. So far, we've had the same ratings, all three of us for the first three films.
Psycho got a 5 all around. Psycho 2 got a 4.5 all around. Psycho 3 got a 4 all around. So
is this not one of the best 80s franchises then? Probably.
Dude, it definitely is, man. I watched this. Like I said, man, I had always growing up, I had this DVD quadruple feature, and I could just watch 2, 3, and 4 all the time, bro. I had because they're just a fun binge, and they all kind of go together, especially 2 and 3, you know, because like I said, they're within the same month, you know what I mean, in time period wise. So Travis said 3.5 for the remake. next we're getting to Psycho 4, The Beginning, directed by Mick Garris. And I got a soft spot for Mick Garris, which this has a lot of flashbacks to Norman as a young boy. And also, first time we actually see the mother alive.
Yeah.
And the mother is played by the main chick from Black Christmas, Olivia Hussey.
Yeah, she was in Romeo and Juliet.
She's really good as the mother, I think. She's like, I do think I like Vera Farmiga from the show better, but I think she's phenomenal. And I can see where she, Vera would take, because Vera could basically do whatever she wants otherwise. But Olivia Hussey establishes the mother, So that was pretty cool. And I forget who young. I know I've seen him in a bunch, but
it's Henry Thomas, the kid from E.T.
Is he, man?
Yeah, it's the kid from E.T. He's in Mick Garris's Masters of Horror episode Chocolate. He's in that. He's in The Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
that's Elliot from fucking E.T. Man.
Wow, man, that's crazy. I know it when you're saying it. I just wow, he's aged, man. That's E.T.
Talk about weird stretches. Talk about weird stretches. Oh my goodness, but Norman.
He's good.
Norman, I'm scared. Come get into bed with me. No, not with those wet clothes on. Oh, bruh, you gotta be kidding me. This poor kid. No wonder he's fucked up.
He never had a chance.
Never, man.
Oh man. But
this one's also yeah, and this one's also written by Joseph Stefano, who wrote the original screenplay for the first one.
Yep, which I do like that, because if anyone's gonna kind of dive into the beginning life of Norman, it's really gonna be hearsay unless it was Joseph Stefano. So I really like that he came back to do that. And I know this one 4 doesn't get a lot of love, I feel like, but I love it, man. I don't like it as much as 2 and 3, or obviously 1, but I like it better than the Vince Vaughn one. I'm gonna just say that, but I still like the Vince Vaughn one. But like I said, man, 2, 3, and 4 just have a huge soft spot for me. But I love kind of getting that more character development. Like you said, these movies are more character driven, and you really get to know Norman Bates fully as a character and see his childhood, his life as a young boy to his adult life. And I do like that as a whole character arc. A lot of times, when they do that, go back on the 4th movie and they do like a prequel, sequel, that it usually never works. But I think this one was actually done pretty well. Brooks, what did you think of this one, brother?
I thought this was an interesting idea, and I think they did pretty well. I like how they kind of tie in the origin story of like how his mother was, with Norman having like this kind of crisis of him having, becoming a father himself. And, it's like the thing about, the whole thing with mental illness is like a lot of people don't know, like, is it just, about, how, nature versus nurture, or is it like, is there a genetic aspect to it? Is that kind of madness or behavior like passed down? And so like Norman doesn't know if, he did get the madness from his mother, or he's got it because of how his mother treated him. And so like when his wife tells him that she's pregnant, like he just flips out, because, he doesn't want like the idea of him, him raising a son who goes through the same experiences as him because of, his condition, is like just too much for him. And I like the fact that when he's burning down the house, like he escapes through the fruit cellar, which I thought that was kind of funny. It's like he's being reborn by coming out of the fruit cellar.
Yeah, I like too, and I think part 2, he's like, "You best get a lock on that. Somebody gonna steal you, rob you blind." He ain't never locked shit up, and that saved him in the end.
So steal all your fruit, dude.
But dude, you made some great points there, man. Is there anything else you want to mention?
No, I mean, I think I pretty much covered it.
You pulled more from that than I did. I'll tell you that.
I was gonna say, man, like I've always kind of thought, like but what you took is like, you really made me look at it. Now I'm gonna take an extra look at some things. I really liked what you said there, especially about all the mental health and him basically kind of going nuts just about the thought of him passing on his genes or that craziness.
Mm.
What were we about to say, Brooks?
Nothing. My dog was back there whining. I was trying to get her to.
Man, I just noticed you got the Psycho poster behind you. I love that poster, man.
Yeah,
the remake.
Random poster, like from back in Robbie's theater days. I probably got it from George. Like I have a bunch of the old movie posters from like early 2000s, late 90s. And I just remembered I had that one. I was like, oh, that'd be a good one to put up for March Madness.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I love that poster. One of the best things about the remake. Yeah. Robbie, while you're doing your Frozen bit, what did you think of Part 4?
I got to revisit it now after hearing Brooks's thing, but because what I don't like about Part 4 is I feel like Anthony Perkins is wasted, right? I don't like the whole bit with him talking to the radio show. Like, I don't know why. It annoys the hell out of me. It feels too modern. What year was this? Was this one actually in the 90s?
I think so. I believe
1990. So. 1990.
Yep.
Okay. So I don't know. I don't like that framing device. I really am fascinated.
Really big right now, you know.
I get it. Well, there's a lot of movies at the time that were like that I do like Fisher King. You know, they're dealing with like a shock jock like that. So that part to me takes me away from what I like about the film, and that's Olivia Hussey and Henry Thomas as Norman and his mother. Like, all of that is fascinating to me. Like, and I almost like, and I get it. I'm glad that we have Anthony Perkins in the movie, but I would have preferred a different framing thing. But like Brooks pointed out, it is that he's nervous and he's trying to be talked down because he feels like he has to kill his wife now because he's finally made it. He's happy. He's reached his goal. He's married, right. But now she's going to have a kid, and he's worried that the kid's going to be fucked up like him. And then it gives us the opportunity to revisit everything. And it still has, even with that framing device, it's okay. But like, they still turn it into a little bit of a thriller aspect towards the end, you know, in the third act where we're like, oh, he's going to go kill her now. And I love that he burns down the house and stuff. It's got some things there. I just feel like there's some missteps through the pacing. It doesn't quite, it's jarring the way it goes back and forth sometimes. And I feel like it drags when it gets back to the radio show phone call. But overall, I think it's pretty solid, but I honestly think it's the weakest out of all 5 films, including the remake. So there you go.
For sure, bro. But yeah, I can see how you feel Perkins is being a little wasted. I mean, it's Perkins, man, and it's the last time we get to see him play this character, so I can understand that. I could have liked to see him more and be used a little bit better, but I don't mind the radio stuff. I do love seeing the Olivia Hussey stuff and, you know, the flashbacks. I think they were probably too scared to commit to the full prequel type thing, you know, and it's like it's not gonna work. Nobody's gonna come. It's not gonna make money. So throw Anthony. How can we get Anthony Perkins in here? How can we throw him in the bunch, you know, and maybe he really wasn't so thrilled to do it, man. He's like, you know, I did the third one. I directed it. I got to direct it myself. And that was probably all he really, you know, he might not have been so thrilled to do this one. And maybe Joseph, the writer coming back, made him be like, oh, okay, you know, that sounds good. But they're like, you know, I don't want a huge part or something. And I don't know. So there's not too much behind the scenes for a lot of the Psycho movies, which is a little bummer.
Yeah,
but, at least with Perkins.
For Scream Factory collector's editions, they're pretty bare boned, I think.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
But none of you can't get there. I mean, they're bare bones, but compared to any other release,
Yeah, it's just the
They
movie.
actually they're better. They are collector's edition because the rest have like the regular ones have nothing. So that's what sucks. It's just I wish we would have some interviews with Perkins and kind of talking about it, but too late for that.
Yeah.
But so what would you give this out of 5 digs, Brooks?
I give it 3.5. It's above average for me, but it's still a little weaker than the previous 3. Still an interesting movie though.
He says 4. He doesn't think got a theatrical release. He could be right.
It didn't. It came out on Showtime. It was on Showtime.
Was it?
Wow.
I could see it being.
There's no theatrical release for it.
Yeah,
it came out on Showtime.
Doing a lot of those releasing horror movies straight to, when all that the cable was coming.
Yeah.
And then you were able to watch like movies and all that stuff, and they were doing the Showtime movies, Showtime original. Yeah. But wow, I never knew that it was Showtime. Wow.
Well, thank you, John, for being our special features.
Yeah. What would you give this one, Robbie?
3. It's okay. It's got some fascinating elements. I really think helps explain and round out the story of Norman Bates, right? And I'm sure that the Bates Motel, I've heard, does it even better, because they had more time to do it. Olivia Hussey, I think her performance was great. The kid, Elliot from E.T., I think he did a great job. I feel like it falters because it's not that I mind the radio show bit, but the idea that it stunts the pace of the film for me. So I'll give it a 3 because it's solid and definitely something that every time I watch these films, I'll include it. But I'm cool all the time with just watching 2 and 3 as a double feature.
Yeah,
so
for sure. Man, it's hard because I almost want to give it a 4, but I don't like it as much as 3. So I almost wish we could do the 3.75, but I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I still, like I said, I can watch 2, 3, 4 all day, but I do like 2 and 3. If I don't got 6 hours, I'm watching 2 and 3. You know what I mean? But I still like it a lot, and I think it has a lot of good things going for it, and I think it does really round out the character, like you said, Robbie. And I do see what you mean. I wish we would get more Anthony Perkins in it. I wish they would have used him a little bit better, but what are you gonna do? I almost think though maybe they didn't want to take too much away from the young version of him, and they wanted that to be kind of
that stuff's fascinating, man.
It
also does. Here's the thing. I know you're a big Mick Garris guy, okay? But Mick Garris, his style of filmmaking is, to me, made for TV. Now it's probably because that's what he's mostly done, right?
Yeah.
But that everything he does to me feels made for TV. And now it's really John saying that makes a lot of sense now because this one felt like very made for TV at times. And it was mostly the Anthony Perkins stuff. I don't know.
Oh, I hear you. That makes a lot of sense. I don't know if I'd say Sleepwalkers feels TV movie, but that one's TV just so raunchy. It's so raunchy.
I think one of the best things I've ever seen Mick Garris direct is Chocolate, the first season Masters of Horror episode he did with the kid from this movie. Well, he wasn't a kid anymore, but Henry Thomas,
Yeah. He's one guy, man, where he just, as soon as he must hit puberty, he's always kind of looked the same. But he is he's older now, but I feel like he still almost looks the same. I don't know, it's weird. So now we're at our ratings for Psycho. If you're just coming in, Psycho, we all hit 5s. Psycho 2, we all did 4.5. Psycho 3, we all rated it 4, right? Or did you give it a 3.5, Robbie?
It was all 4s.
Oh, we did 4. It was all 4s, I thought so. And Psycho 4, I gave it a 3.5. Brooks gave it a 3.5. And Robbie gave it a 3. So now we're getting to the last, not least, least to some, but the Psycho remake. And what year was this? Psycho
98, right?
98, was it?
I think so. Yeah, 1998.
Wow.
Yeah, December. It came out my senior year of high school. I remember this very vividly.
That's cool, man. So you saw it in theater?
Of course.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah, bro. When Scream was like, I think the first horror film aside from the brief bit of Child's Play when I was a kid that I watched, you know, and on that moment it was just unleashed, and like I went and saw every big one that I could. This was the same year H2O came out. Like I went and saw that, and like, dude. Yeah. I enjoyed watching this in theater. I remember the night before I went to Movie Gallery and rented the original, and I had my friend Josh come over and watch it. He had never seen it, and I just love it. You know, renting it on VHS, by the way. But this really helped me cement my love of this character, Norman Bates, was this movie. And at the time, I was a big proponent of this film, and I was all down for the shot-for-shot element of it, because I knew a lot of my friends had never seen Psycho, nor did they want to, because it was a black and white film, you know, and it's not, I don't think it should have been made necessarily, but I'm glad it was made.
It was made because the kids that said that I don't want to, because they don't want to watch black and white films.
Yeah. It's just it was a big deal for me at that time. My senior year of high school. Damn. It's a long time
dude,
ago.
that'd have been cool. I mean, to be able to see that in theaters and everything too, graduating high school. I mean, that's
and I'm still a Vince Vaughn fan. So.
Oh, dude, me too. Me too.
I'm not trying to jump the gun. I'm not ready to explode my thoughts, full on thoughts. You know, obviously you've been going to Brooks first.
We'll let Brooks explode on his thoughts, so we can before you jump the gun too hard. Brooks, what did you think about this? And this is one you've already seen before. Did you?
I have to admit, I didn't actually rewatch this one. Yeah. But I remember watching it, like I said, we did like a movie night where we watched the original, and then the next night we watched the remake. And I remember being like, well, it's the same movie, but like with like a few little tiny differences.
Yeah.
And it seems kind of pointless to me because, you know, the first one was so good. But I mean, I can see, you know, that the whole idea, like, you know, some people want to see it in color, or, you know, see it with actors that they're familiar with, you know. But to me, I just thought it's kind of redundant, like, you know, how the recent Lion King movie was. Is like, what was the point of it?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. That's yeah.
I mean, it's a movie that shouldn't have been made, probably, but it was.
I give the guy Gus Van Sant. I think
it's probably like, you know, they had to like, you know, keep interest. You know, like you don't want to let the story die. You have to, like, you know, bring it back so that, you know, a new generation can, you know, get into it.
I think it did that too. You know, it brought it back to the forefront, you know.
That's what I think too, yeah.
Because like I said, many of the people I went to high school with, maybe Brooks will remember too, but they have never seen Psycho. Most people had never done these, because I grew up loving the Universals, right? And nobody like watched, none of these other people I knew, except for just a handful, had watched these films because they were black and white and they're dumb and they're cheesy and whatnot. But it at least brought it back into the gaze. And I guess this would have been Gus Van Sant's follow-up to Good Will Hunting, wouldn't it have been? Because that was the 97, so it's an interesting choice for he's a really good director. Anyway.
I think he didn't want to compete with Hitchcock, so he's just like, I'll just be Hitchcock, I guess.
Well, here's something that's crazy. So you get like remakes all the time now, and people always complain about how remakes or adaptations are so different from the source material. But what we complain about on this one is that it's not very different from the source material, you know?
Yeah,
remakes are a tough line to toe.
Yeah, they are.
especially horror remakes.
I think every time Gus Van Sant tried to like deviate from the film, he's like, "No, I can't do that. The fans will kill me. The fans will kill me. It's not as good. It's not as good as the original."
There are certain stylistic differences in the film.
Oh,
there's some. They basically use almost the same shots, and they use the same script, but it is
same script, updated like vocabulary, like updated like trendy words, like or sayings, like how they would say things, like you know.
There was, and it was kind of shot. It was shot for shot, but the shots were different, and they had Gus Van Sant's like, they had his style to it. And here's what I really like about the film. What I really like about Psycho 1998 is Vince Vaughn's performance as Norman Bates, because he is playing the same character Anthony Perkins did, but he's doing it in a completely different way that is so, especially at the time in 98, unlike what Vince Vaughn typically does. You know what I'm saying? Like, he plays him, maybe it's a little too more obviously sinister at times, you know, but you also have the idea and an impression when you make this movie that people know what's going to happen, right? So you're not going to surprise people. But I think that everybody gave a great performance. Julianne Moore, to me, is kind of annoying. This is Viggo Mortensen. By the way, Brooks, you must have loved seeing Aragorn's ass. You know what I'm saying? So there you go. Julianne Moore is kind of like, William H. Macy is a great as what's the Abernathy or Argosy, the detective, the PI. I think Anna Hesh does a great job. Anna Hesh does a great job of actually fleshing out Marion more than Janet Leigh was kind of allowed to, because you know, and I know she always got a lot of flack for some reason. I think because at the time she was like dating Ellen or something, but I think she's good in the movie. I think she's great in the movie. I love her and Norman's dynamic. I love Vince Vaughn in this movie. It is so interesting to me to watch this movie. I would almost view this movie, the best way to view it is this. Don't view it as a Hollywood production, but like a student film. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, me and my friends are going to remake Psycho. And, you know, because it does some weird things, like when the killings happen, right? Like, they just like show like storm clouds and weird noises, and you know, they like, okay, I guess, sure, that's a bit weird, but I actually kind of enjoy it, and it adds to a different aesthetic to this film. The colors add a different aesthetic to this film. I don't know. I think Psycho the remake fits more in with Psycho 2, 3, and 4 than the original sometimes, you know, because it kind of feels like one of those movies, because I guess it's 98, it's dated. It's got this certain look to it with the cinematography. It just takes me back to high school. Yo, I'm gushing because I like the Psycho remake, and rewatching it, you can watch it for free on Peacock. I had a grand old time, so I really, really like it. I'll be honest.
The fuck is Peacock?
It's the NBC streaming service.
Oh, but I think that, like I was telling you too before, that this might be the first Psycho movie. I mean, I was like 4 or 5 years old when this came out too. You know what I mean? So I went and saw H2O in theaters when I was a kid. So I would have been watching this with my parents when this came out as well. So I'm pretty sure I saw this first. Unless by some chance my mom put on the original and we watched that like before watching. You know what I mean? But I bet you I watched this first. And I always thought it was good. I always thought Vince Vaughn did a great job. Once you see Anthony Perkins, I think he's way better than Vince Vaughn, but I don't think Vince Vaughn is bad or anything. I mean,
Vince Vaughn's trying to do something different, though. You know, he's intentionally not doing Anthony Perkins, but he's playing the same character. So I really like the interpretation.
Yes, sir. I agree. But I still like Vince Vaughn. I think he's great. I think James Remar is like absolutely perfect as the cop that's following, Marion and basically tailing her.
It's straight up. I was like, is that the same dude? and he just didn't age. Did they like pull a time warp or something? Like that cop is the exact same dude, y'all. He's like he's like Terminator from Terminator 2. He's like the T-1000. You're just like, this guy's scary. I feel like he's about to turn to molten metal and just spear the shit out of Marion Crane.
Oh man!
First time I've ever seen the buyer pressure the salesman.
It's right. I think this movie has an all-star cast too. I mean, William H. Macy is a phenomenal actor. I mean, Viggo Mortensen. I love to see him in anything horror. I mean, if you like seeing his ass, Brooks, definitely check out History of Violence by David Cronenberg. It's totally not a Cronenberg movie that you would think, but History of Violence is freaking awesome.
Have you seen Eastern Promises?
I don't know.
That's one where it's the Russian gangster.
Yeah, I think that's a Cronenberg film too. And like in that film, there's a whole scene where he's like coming out of the shower in this like public shower or something, and he's like completely nude, and then these dudes come and like fucking fight him, and he has to fight him off. He's completely nude, like, and so you see his like balls dangling and shit, right? The silhouette of it. But like, it's one of the most tense scenes I've ever seen because you're imagine a bathroom floor, you know,
it is a Cronenberg.
You're in this, yeah, right, and you're in this like, oh my goodness, and you're completely nude, and these dudes are coming at you with knives and shit. Like, imagine a more vulnerable feeling, like, oh, Jesus.
Oh man, that would be so.
Viggo likes to show himself off, doesn't he?
He's not a shy boy.
I like it.
But sometimes it infuriates me a little bit that it is such a shot-for-shot scene, because I would have liked to see them maybe deviate a little bit, but I still do. You know, it's hard. It's hard because the movie is such a masterpiece. So it's like, why deviate? You know, it was really them just trying to upgrade and get younger people to watch this because they say, oh, black and white, it's boring, or you know. So, if it wasn't for people like that, we would never have gotten this. So, if you hate the movie, thank those people. If you love the movie, we got it and we get to enjoy it, you know, which I do like it. I mean, I wouldn't have bought it if I didn't like it, because I am a completionist. But if I hate the movie, I probably will say screw it, because it's like, why do I need it, you know, if I'm not even going to ever watch it. But I own it, so I do like it, because I do like Vince Vaughn, and I like the characters in it. I think characters are great in it. I think Juliette Moore is the weakest too, though. She's a little like, you know, they're trying to make her seem edgy. She seems like something, you know.
They're trying to make her too hip.
I got my walk. Let me grab my walk. Let me get my Walkman real quick.
That's so stupid. It dates the film so fucking much.
Strutting in with her. I'm strutting with my Walkman.
All right, so you know the scene when like Norman's standing there next to that swamp, and like somebody, I don't remember who, they're like knocking, and then they like they're honking the horn for him, right? Yeah, and then the camera just zooms in on him. The Anthony Perkins scene in the original is great, but Vince Vaughn, I think, does such a spectacular job.
I thought that was one of my favorite shots of that movie. It almost looks like that's a sound stage, though.
It probably is. I'm sure it's Universal. I'm sure they probably filmed most of it in the back lot. They probably filmed it in the same place where they filmed the original.
That's one of my favorite scenes too. That because he doesn't have the baby face. He's got the little, 5 o'clock shadow type thing going for him. But does he? I swear he does a little bit.
He does for the most part. And that parlor scene in the original and in this one is so well done by both Perkins and Vince Vaughn. Like the parlor scene, like especially when she suggests putting his mother in a home, he's like, everybody's so with their intentions. And like, he's giving it maybe a little bit more. He's not as subtle as Anthony was, not as nuanced, but like, I think that for its time, that's exactly what he should have done. I love his Norman. I really do too.
Yeah.
And that smile at the end,
he's not as
still
timid.
good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's got a good, he does good, man. I like that he like kind of is true to Norman, what Perkins did, but he does his own style with it. So I think he was pretty damn good in it. And I feel like, if they maybe gave him a little bit more, maybe he could have, gone even crazier with it, Good evening, Holliston. What's up, Jay?
Metal.
I know. Yeah, I was like looking at something and I was saying to myself, I'm like, metal. I love it. The
station.
I just say goofy shit, like it's Holliston taglines all the time to myself.
Bro, I cannot wait for Jay Strick on the last night of March Madness to get completely fucked up by the Gates of Hell trilogy.
Oh, I know. When you said he was coming for that, I was like, that's gonna be fun. And
he asked me, he goes,
too?
Yeah, he wants to do TCM too, but he goes, out of all of March Madness, which one would you want me to be on the most? And I said, Fulci, baby.
Hell yeah.
We're gonna fuck him up, man.
Dude, that's gonna be awesome. Is he just coming for 2 or is he coming for 1 the day before?
I don't fucking know, man.
Yeah.
Ask him, but he's probably already gone.
Yeah. But what would you give the Psycho remake, Brooks, out of 5 you digs?
I'd give it a 3. I think, I don't think it's bad, but a lot of it suffers from me having seen the original and how much I love the original. Like, if I hadn't seen the original and watched it, I'd probably think higher of it. But, I don't have the not liking black and white movies hang up. So, for me, the original is always just kind of going to diminish the value of the remake because it stays so close.
Plus, you can't Men in Black Flash yourself.
Mm. What is his picture in there? Is that like a Gengar or a Haunter?
I think it's
just a ghost.
Pokemon.
It's just a regular ghost.
I think it's a Haunter, a skilled Haunter.
Maybe.
He said he'll be there for both shows.
Okay. Well, he thinks he will, but I don't know. I haven't decided if he's allowed on the PCP yet.
I know. I was there for Blue and Red, bro.
Weird stretch.
All right. Anything else you want to throw in on that, Brooks? You said you gave it a 3.
Yeah, I think it's pretty average for me.
Yeah. I do enjoy that they at least use Bernard Herrmann's score, What do you give this out of 5, you digs, Robbie?
4. I want to give it a 4 or 5 just for Vince Vaughn. I really fucking like him in this movie. I really am. I'm enamored with him in this movie. I almost got a crush on Vince Vaughn's Norman Bates for some reason, and that's twisted, and that's my own hang up. So don't worry about that, okay?
Psycho.
I'm dealing with it, but no, I really like his porn. I'm going to give it a 4 because it's not a film that should have been made, but I like it, and like Brooks said, I get it. It loses something having the originals. Obviously, but it wouldn't even exist without the original, right? But when I watch the original Psycho and versus the 98 Psycho, when I watch 98, I'm ready for a different type of vibe. Now, obviously, there's the nostalgia thing in me. I saw this movie in theaters. It was a big deal. It was my senior year of high school. I was obsessed with Psycho and horror movies growing up. So it was this was like fucking Star Wars being re-released when everybody was excited, or for Phantom Menace. This was my Phantom Menace. I was like, who cares about Phantom Menace? Star Wars next year, dude. We got Psycho coming out this year, and 98 was such a magical movie year for me. We got Blade that year, Blade and Psycho right there. So I'm going to give it a 4 though. And I know that's not a fair rating, and me and Dylan already accept this, but when we're talking about horror films, we skew a little bit higher. I think, honestly, we skew about 1 whole you dig higher. He's gone. Welcome to Robbie's Horror Show. So Brooks gave it a 3. I gave it a 4. What do you give Psycho from 1998, everybody? I want to see you in the chat right now. How many you digs do you give it? Then we'll find out what Dylan says. Now, Dylan probably wants to rate it low, but I don't know if he will because of all the talk about Vince Vaughn. What's up, Dylan? You're back.
Is he doing
Is it an actual alien documentary?
He's not doing a bit.
It's still messing up.
We can see you.
You hear me?
Yeah, it's like you're frozen, but your audio's still coming through.
All right.
You're not frozen now.
I'll be right.
All right. I asked everybody. All right. He's gone again. All right. So we got Travis M. gave it a 3.5. All right. That's fair. It's between me and you, Brooks.
Yeah.
Just between you and me, I've got something to say. Wanna get it straight before the sun goes down. Some DC talk for your ass. 62 Lefty Blue says 3.5, you digs. Nice. Bobby De La Ghetto says 2, you digs. That's probably a fair and accurate assessment of it.
I think that's what most people would probably give it.
They hate this film. I really like Vince Vaughn in this film, bro. Like, I really do. And I love William H. Macy.
A lot of it is tainted by like how close they stay to the original.
Yeah, but if they didn't stay that close to the original,
it probably would have been even worse if they'd have deviated.
They would have got panned, man. All right, Dylan's back. What do you rate it, man?
I'll give it a 3.5. I was gonna give it a 3, but I really do like Vince Vaughn in it, so I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
Nice.
Because I don't think it's a 3. Because I don't think it's a bad movie. It just suffers because the original is so good, and I can't Men in Black myself and just delete how good the original is. You know, all in all, Psycho 1, we hit it with all 5. Psycho 2, all 4.5. Psycho 3, all 4s. Psycho 4. Me and Brooks gave it 3.5s. I think, or did you give it a 3? I think 3.5s, and Robbie gave it a 3. Robbie gave it the 3. And for the remake of Psycho, 3.5 for me, 3 for Brooks, and 4 for Robbie, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So that concludes the Psycho series. Now, what did you think of the Bates Motel show?
Now watch all 5 seasons of Bates Motel by next weekend.
1. Dude, my internet keeps messing up. If you got something you want to show off, because I'm gonna have to probably cut this because my shit keeps ending. Like, I don't know, I keep getting 1 bar.
I got you. I can do something real quick here.
You got anything you want to show off?
Yeah, but it's just a little bit. So
well, you could show it. I mean, but it's gonna keep cutting me off.
All right.
Brooks,
so
you got anything?
I did not.
Well, he's got that badass Psycho poster behind him, the 1998 Psycho poster. That if you ever take it down, I hope you pass it off to me.
Yeah.
So there you go.
What
did I watched some horror this week, so I watched all these Psycho movies, obviously. And I watched The Cell, which we talked about last night to kick off March Madness. I'm now like halfway through In Search of Darkness 2. And Sunday, Dylan, I watched Cellar Dweller. And thought it was pretty decent. And I did a movie review on it on Rockin' Robbie. I liked it. I thought it was okay. It had some interesting ideas. I did a movie review on it on Rockin' Robbie Live. I don't know what my movie tomorrow is going to be.
Yeah.
Tomorrow morning is, of course, my Sunday ritual. I don't know what I'm going to watch tomorrow morning. Anyway, I got some new Blu-rays in, and so I want to show them off. I got Ginger Snaps. I haven't seen this, but Dylan tells me it's worth the buy. It was really, really cheap. I got The Candyman, Farewell to the Flesh. I was very excited that this dropped back down in price because it was going up for a while.
Yeah.
And I got one of my favorite.
You gotta grab it.
I got one of my favorite vampire movies in my hand right now, and I've never owned it on Blu-ray.
Oh, I still gotta get it, dude, because it's so pricey, man. It's like 20.
Who you gonna do tonight?
I got Friday Night too, man. But I gotta get one. How much was it?
I got this for I got it on a buy two get one. So I got these 3
nice.
for basically like $30, $10 each.
I should have done that, man.
I don't know what movie I'm doing.
Was Psycho really like 20 bucks?
Psycho.
Fright Night's always good.
I love Fright Night. It's great. The remake of Psycho wasn't the first Psycho I saw, by the way. So I haven't seen Ginger Snaps,
really?
But maybe that's the one I should watch tomorrow for my Sunday morning ritual. Maybe I should watch Ginger Snaps and talk about that tomorrow night on Rock and Robbie Live.
Yeah.
Because I already know what I think of Fright Night. I'm so excited to watch that on Blu-ray, y'all. I'm so fucking excited. I love Fright Night.
Dude,
Anyway, that's also some great comics this week. 3 great horror comics. Oh, nice. Alfred. Oh, I should have showed off my Norman Bates
white
pop,
Alfred with the. Do you got this one? I got the colored one, but this is the black and white one.
I have the color one. That's cool. I didn't know they did a black and white one.
Yeah, it's like a FYE exclusive, I think. But I wanted it to go with the black and white Alfred. So that's my little Alfred Psycho set. So I got the colored one, but I think it's in my mom's room. Because she loves Hitchcock. Like, that was one thing. Like, I used to watch Hitchcock Presents with her all the time as a kid. I loved, like, Twilight Zone, all that stuff. I know Twilight Zone isn't Hitchcock, but Hitchcock Presents always reminded me of Twilight Zone.
I like both Fright Nights.
I got a bunch of Blu-rays, but I showed off all the Blu-rays. I don't know if you saw. I got a quite amount, like 8 of them. With
I saw
slip covers. Like half.
I saw your hour-long weird stretch. Bro, you know I gotta watch every episode of Dylan's Horror Show.
Those are some DVDs that Scarpa had sent me, but dude, I was so happy, man. Like, I got the Kraft slipcover. Did you get Slither from Shout Factory?
No, I want it.
Didn't you get Slither?
No.
Oh, dude, the Slither came with the slip. I was so happy, dude.
Is that one still available?
I thought it was
gone.
I just hope to get the slipcover for Tales from the Dark Side. Slither? Yeah. I mean, I got it from Shout Factory. I know it's on Amazon, too. I believe it's on both Shout and Amazon. I couldn't believe it came with the slipcover, though. And I got 2 movies. They have 2 audio commentaries with Adam Green and Joe Lynch. Hills Run Red and Behind the Mask, Rise of Lorraine. And I'm really excited because I love the Leslie Vernon movie. I don't know if you've ever seen that one.
I haven't, really, but I've heard it.
Robert Englund. Yeah. You should check it out. That would be a good Sunday watch, bro. The Rise of Leslie Vernon. I don't know if you got Shudder yet. It's on Shudder. I'll see if it's on Prime and I'll let you know. But, dude, let's see. I love this movie, bro.
Okay, yeah, I remember seeing that. I haven't watched it, though.
It's a fun one. It's kind of like a shot-on video. Like, these guys are trying to interview this guy, and he's telling them that he's a serial killer, basically. And, basically it's like interviewing a slasher in a way. And then he's kind of showing them how he sets up and how he plans out shit. And he's like, you got to scope these people out for it. It's got comedic parts to it, but it is really
cool,
really fun, bro. And I mean, what is it? 2006. So for a early 2000 movie, I thought it was just phenomenal. Highly underrated and slept on. I couldn't believe it. It had a slip too, because I was like, man, this movie. I would have thought it would have sold out, but maybe it's not as popular. The tagline is Freddy, Jason, Michael. We all need someone to look up to.
Love it.
Oh, I did get this though too, Robbie. I finally got that sci-fi 4-pack. I gotta get. There's an action 4-pack.
What is there?
It's got yeah. There's an action one. It's got The Exterminator 2, Eye of the Tiger with Gary Busey, which I keep hearing good things in reviews about it, that it's really fun. So I think I'm going to get that next, because that's another one that's out of print on Shout Factory. So I grabbed that one before I got the action. The action one I'm getting next. Yeah, nice. James Gunn Slither.
Oh, I love that movie. One of my favorite creature features, if you check out the creature feature episode of Dylan's Horror Show.
But, so, yeah. Oh, dude, Slither is so good, man. Yeah, I might watch that. I don't know what to watch tonight, because I got like so much. I was gonna watch Tales from the Dark a little bit before, but that was another one. I got the Craft slipcover, bro.
Yeah,
for the Next Generation.
I'm not a fan of the Craft, but whatever. It's okay.
Yeah, I remember you said that. You're a big fan of the Next Generation, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Big fan of Leatherface as a drag queen. I know.
What? Is that the one with
telling me all about it?
Is that the one with Matthew McConaughey?
Matthew McConaughey.
Reese Witherspoon? No, Renee Zellweger. Or is it Reese Witherspoon?
Yeah. Renee Zellweger.
I think Dylan's slightly behind me.
Is fucked.
Yeah. All right, slightly behind you, Brooks.
A little bit.
Thanks everyone for hanging out tonight. Next week we got, what is next week, Robbie?
Prince of Darkness.
Before we go.
Yeah, we're doing In the Mouth of Madness Friday night on Pop Culture Philosophers. And then the next day on Dylan's Horror Show, we're doing Prince of Darkness. And we have some special guests for that too.
And Chamorro Cinema. Yeah, we got some special guests. So that's going to be a fun one. Y'all know I'm a huge Carpenter fan, so just wait for the deep dive on that. And remember, dudes, 69.